morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to our weekly review of how religion impacts humanity. Now, your presenter has got COVID right now, but fortunately we are sufficiently socially distanced. This week's headlines. A new order begins under the Taliban's governance. The Taliban break up a women's rights protest in Kabul. Concerns grow in Poland at the low Catholic turnout. An Accrington vicar avoids jail after admitting more than 3,000 child abuse images. A Batley vicar is jailed for assaulting a 3-year-old. Pastor Vaughn says it's a sin to believe in climate change. And our Roman Catholic news, as usual, comes from Jason Sylvester. Now, on the first day of formal Afghan talks in the Gulf state of Qatar, a buzz shot through the room when the Taliban hinted that they would no longer be demanding an Islamic emirate. They said they understood its sensitivity. In talks with female negotiators, they reassured them that women could play every role except president, including government ministers. That was then. This is now, and the Taliban are in charge. Far from being inclusive, the new government is exclusively Taliban. The reviled Ministry of Vice and Virtue is back. The Women's Affairs Ministry is out. The government's makeup is overwhelmingly drawn from Pashtun tribes, with only one Tajik and one Hazara, both of whom are Talibs. There's not a single woman, not even in deputy minister positions. So, this week the Taliban announced an interim government in Afghanistan, declaring the country an Islamic emirate. The new cabinet, entirely male, is made up of senior Taliban figures, some of whom are notorious for attacks on US forces over the last 2 decades. It will be led by Mullah Mohammed Hassan Akhund, one of the movement's founders, who is on a UN blacklist. Learn more about him here.
The Taliban has appointed Mohammed Hassan Akhund as the head of their new caretaker government in Afghanistan. Akhund is from Kandahar, the birthplace of the Taliban, and is believed to be in his mid-60s or perhaps older. He's a founding member of the Taliban and head of its decision-making body, Rehbari Shura, or the Leadership Council, a position he has held for 20 years. Akhund is highly respected within the movement and is known for his closeness to the supreme leader Haibatullah Akhundzada. Akhund held positions in the previous Taliban government from 1996 to 2001. He was foreign minister and later served as deputy prime minister. Akhund is on a UN sanctions list, where he is described as a close associate and political advisor to the Taliban's late founder.
The Interior Minister is the feared FBI-wanted leader of the Haqqani militant group, Sirajuddin Haqqani. The new leadership will face significant challenges, not least stabilizing the country's economy and gaining international recognition. Taliban officials have broken up a demonstration by dozens of women in Kabul who were demanding rights following the Taliban takeover. The group say the Taliban targeted them with tear gas and pepper spray as they tried to walk from a bridge to the presidential palace. But the Taliban maintain the protest got out of control, according to Afghan media outlet Tolo News. It's the latest of several protests by women in Kabul and Herat. The women were calling for the right to work and to be included in the government. Many women fear a return to the way they were treated when the Taliban were previously in power between 1996 and 2001. Women were forced to cover their faces outside, and harsh punishments were meted out for minor transgressions. 25 years ago, when the Taliban came, they prevented me from going to school, journalist Azita Nazimi told Tolo. After 5 years of their rule, I studied for 25 years and worked hard. For the sake of our better future, we must not allow this to happen. Another demonstrator, Soraya, told Reuters they also hit women on the head with a gun magazine, and the woman became bloody. See this. Anxieties about a permanent decline in attendance at religious events have been expressed in Poland, where no more than 8,000 people are expected to attend the 12th of September Warsaw beatification of Cardinal Stefan Wyszynski and the Mother Rosa Chaka, founder of the Franciscan Sister Servants of the Cross. In a pastoral letter to be read at all masses on the 5th of September, the country's Bishops' Conference says it hopes the twin beatifications will give Catholics prophetic intuitions for taking up current pastoral challenges, as well as for paving new paths and opening new perspectives for action in the Polish Church. However, the event's host, Cardinal Kazimierz Nish, said the Mass in the capital's new landmark Divine Mercy Basilica would have to be modest and dignified within pandemic limitations, with only 2,500 bishops, priests and invited guests allowed inside, and around 70,000 expected to watch TV coverage nationwide, far fewer than with previous national religious events. Recently, in the Tablet, Derek Scally, Berlin's correspondent for the Irish Times, wrote an analysis of the current culture war around the Catholic Church in Poland. He said, "As an Irishman, I used to joke that my people were the best Catholics in the world. Researching my book, though, I realized the Poles had a strong claim to our now tarnished crown. While Ireland is grappling with the glory and shame of its collapsed Catholic legacy, however, Poland's church-state alliance is, depending on your perspective, reaching new highs or lows." Thomas Donaghy's Baxenden Vicarage was raided by police last November. He was then arrested, placed under investigation, and suspended by Blackburn Diocese. He had been released on bail until December the 2nd, 2020. Burnley Crown Court heard how the former vicar, who was a reverend at Baxenden St John Church, admitted his guilt to police before any of his devices could even be examined. When police did analyse his devices, they discovered 297 Category A photos of children, the worst of their kind under law, 468 Category B photos, and 2,823 Category C. Donaghy also admitted to possessing 46 extreme pornographic images which portrayed in an explicit and realistic way an act which threatened a person's life. At Burnley Crown Court on Tuesday, the 54-year-old was handed a 2-year community order with 40 rehabilitation days, fined £100, and he must also serve a 5-year sexual harm prevention order. Prosecuting, Alaric Bassano told the court, the defendant's wife was present when he was arrested and was shocked and distraught. He was interviewed before the devices were examined and admitted he had downloaded such imagery for about 2 years. He told police that at first it was just images of naturism, but then this progressed and he began using search terms such as underage and Lolita and accessed images from the dark web. Another vicar who sexually abused a 3-year-old has been jailed for an extremely wicked series of acts. Gordon Newton, who worked in Batley, West Yorkshire, abused the girl on a number of occasions. Leeds Crown Court heard he had confessed to having a sexual interest in children for a number of years. A judge branded Newton a hypocrite and said he had committed a gross abuse of trust as he sentenced him to 9 years and 7 months. Prosecutor Julian Jones told the court that Newton's wife Julie had handed her husband's old mobile phone to the police, who found 276 indecent images of children. Of those, 70 were deemed to be in the most serious category of abuse images. Previously a dedicated churchgoer, she said her husband's arrest and the subsequent charges had shattered her faith, which was now non-existent. She had been unable to work full-time and suffers depression as a result of his crimes. He will be placed on the sex offenders register for life, and a sexual prevention order was also made. Kitty Colley, defending, said Newton knew his crimes were disgusting and vile and had genuine remorse for his actions. A spokesperson for the Diocese of Leeds said Newton's deeply shocking actions were a matter of deep shame and regret. Over to the States. Shane Vaughn is a small-town Mississippi preacher who practices the fine art of promoting utterly absurd and completely ridiculous stuff on YouTube. His stance on many things gains attention, but also lots of clicks, and so this is a very nice revenue stream of income. Before being a pastor, he had rather a different career. In 2009, he was arrested in Louisiana and charged with insurance and bank fraud, hence ending up in jail for 3 years. Least you wonder, he was also a preacher at that time. Viral YouTube clips are simply his latest way to earn income. In this case, it is not wholly and completely legal, so he will happily say weird stuff just for the clicks.
Climate change is not scientific. It is a religion. It is an anti-Christ religion that has taken over the minds of the world. In today's lesson, I'm going to prove to you from God's word that it is a sin to believe in the ideology and the religion of climate change. They present this like it's irrefutable. And every single person on earth, nearly every single person, falls for it. Do you know why? Revelations 12:9. Satan has deceived the whole world. If you believe that mankind is causing climate change, you're deceived by Satan. Do you know that the American West is withering as I speak to you right now? California is withering. Have you seen the levels of the lakes there? Have you been noted? Do you see the withering? Folks, wake up, America. Return to your God. Submit to Yahweh. Obey his commandments. Keep his Sabbath holy. Give him his tithe. Walk circumspectly before him. Oh, hallelujah. God causes these conditions. And listen what he said. God says in this verse, he controls the rain, the droughts, the famines, the floods. Well, do you know why we want to believe that climate change does this? It gives us the power. You scientists from the pits of hell, how dare you take from Yahweh the sovereign right over the weather that he alone claims and he alone controls. You
Finally, this week's Roman Catholic report from our excellent correspondent, Jason Sylvester.
Hello, I'm Jason Sylvester, aka Diogenes of Mayberry, bringing you this week's Catholic Report. Disgraced former Archbishop of Washington, D.C. and Cardinal Theodore McCarrick pled guilty at the start of his trial last Friday. He is the first American cardinal to face criminal charges in the ongoing global sexual abuse scandal. McCarrick was fired by Pope Francis in 2019 and faces 3 counts of assault and battery against a minor from 1974. Days before the trial started, 2 new charges were filed for a 1991 incident against a priest and an unnamed employee of the Newark, New Jersey Basilica, where he was archbishop before moving to D.C. In my last report, I mentioned the book In the Closet of the Vatican, where McCarrick got several mentions, including how his homosexual activities with adults was widely known, and that his abuses had been covered up by people in the entourages of both Popes Benedict and John Paul II. In our second story, earlier this week it was revealed Spanish Bishop Xavier Novell resigned from the church for love. The twist? He's dating a woman. But more intriguing, she's an author of satanic erotica, such as The Hell of Gabriel's Lust. This is not shocking news to those who know that half of priests are involved in consensual relationships with adults. In the Closet of the Vatican talks about this, as does the late Richard Sipe. Sipe, a counselor who spent his career dealing with sex in the clergy, was the man on the phone in the 2015 movie Spotlight, advising the Boston Globe reporters about the prevalence of sex abuse in the church. Novell has previously advocated gay conversion therapy, performed exorcism, and loudly protested abortions, so it's somewhat ironic that this hardline conservative Catholic has fallen for a divorced woman. Another of her works is described as a journey into sadism, madness, and lust, and a struggle between good and evil, God and Satan, with a plot to shake one's values and religious beliefs. Well, it certainly seems to have shaken the beliefs of the former bishop. We at Global Atheist News welcome this development and wish the couple well. It's nice to see love overcoming superstitious Catholic nonsense and winning out in the end. Thanks for watching, and if you like my reports, please check out my social media links and follow for more content. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Jason. Masterful as usual. Now, my guest on Free Thought Hour this week is Mike No-Go Zones, who will give us an adventurer's insight into all the places where we don't want to go. This is a live Q&A show, so stay tuned on this channel and come and ask some questions. It will be starting in a few minutes. We will be back with our weekly news review on all our platforms at the same time next week. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, set the notifications, etc. Thank you for watching.